Hello, people. Tonight I am going to be talking about this little gem right here. And if you can't tell by the reverence with which I am holding and fondling it, this is going to be a good review. If you haven't already seen some on this, yeah, this is a good knife, okay? Just to start off right there, you need to see the size comparisons and hear me talk about it. Please stick around. If you're just wondering, is this really that good? Yeah, this is really that good, you guys. This is really that freaking good. This is that good. That being said, I have a couple of times insinuated or somehow mentioned that his designer, Mr. Ray Laconico, may possibly be Italian. I actually don't know that. Here's what I know. I've probably butchered the name. I've heard other people do it. Here's what I'm pretty sure that name isn't. I'm pretty sure it's not Ray Laconico. I feel like I'm going to a gas station. Hey, can we go down to the Laconico station? I'm pretty sure it's not that. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that right now. Just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking about, I don't know the man. I don't know his ethnic heritage or where the name comes from. I'm pretty sure it is a Romance language base. That means it comes from the Romans and all the ones that can. Spanish, Italian, all that stuff, Portuguese. But you know what? The Romans spread themselves all over Europe, and then the Spanish and Portuguese did a pretty fine job of spreading their language all over the world as well. So this could really be from all sorts of places. And as a Latina friend of mine said, when I asked her what you call a mix between a Latino and an Asian, and she said, "You're silly. That's called a Filipino." Love that joke. So yeah, I don't know what this is, but Laconico is probably closer to what it is. But I just want to put it out there. I honestly don't know the ethnic heritage other than I would bet you that just looking at the phonetics and structure of it, it is a Romance language. And I would do it anywhere from Hispanic to Portuguese, much more likely than the Italian I have insinuated. But that being said, that out of the way, Mr. Ray Laconico. Anyway, I still might refer to it as Laconico. Just because it's fun. Anyways, you guys, so one more time here. The Laconico Espirit. Manufactured by We Knives. Designed by Mr. Ray Laconico. And yeah, it's really that good. It's contoured. I have the carbon fiber version in the stone-washed titanium clip side with the stone-washed blade. It also comes in a full titanium with the satin polished blade, which is the eggshell titanium is quite beautiful. If you haven't seen Metal Complex's review of it, I highly encourage you to search for him in YouTube, because I will probably forget to put the link down below. If I do, you'll be able to click there. If not, just search Metal Complex and you will come up with him, and he has the full titanium version review. Beautiful knife, you guys. This is as simple and elegant and classic as it can get. Right? You've got the designer name on the spine. Beautiful. A swedge. Would it be nice if it was more rounded? Yeah, probably, but I ain't going to complain too much because the swedge is tall, really breaking that down and allowing for a nice curve of material to move out of the way as you move the blade, and that allows you a bit of radius as you move it, so it really shortens its ability, as well as the ability to move through softer material. No, they put it on the pivot, not on the blade, and as always, it's a bit of a stretch to find where they put the steel. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see. It's right there, the 20 CV, right by the thumb stud there. Anyway, CPM 20 CV. So yeah, so it's good steel. Front flipper with the square front flipper. Anyone familiar with the flipper version on things like the Smock will be familiar with the square flipper part. But the front flipper on this one works really good. The breakover point on the blade where the choil, the sharpening choil, and a decent enough light action. The tip of just the tip, is all you're really going to fit in that choil. You can get the middle finger and get a pointer on there to finger the blade and really steady it for some detail tip work if you need to do a sliver. Or if you want to do the pinch grip, the close but large thumb studs really facilitate the fingers to get in there. And you can actually get a fairly decent pinch grip on this with the tip of your finger going into the choil and the thumb studs providing a sort of dip and backstop to the rest of your hand. You can get a full grip, pinch grip on it if you want to go back, as well as the thumb over on the jimping here, which is well knocked down, and the flat where it is still there that goes all the way out provides you with a nice large flat surface for your thumb, providing you good control for such a slim knife. Again, full titanium clip with a nice bill, countersunk clip, right? Countersunk there. Screws are flush and flat, and a hidden lanyard post that keeps the hole out of the aesthetics, as well as maintaining an entire aesthetics that is quite nice. Large back spacer has 2 screws keeping it that are widely spaced, keeping the force across the liners nice, and the well, it's not liners in this case, it's just straight titanium and carbon fiber, I shouldn't say liner. It's not a line lock, it's a frame lock with the face, with a presentation scale that is, they call it carbon fiber, but I don't consider this the marbled. It only does that when it is properly done. It is really more of a like chipboard or composite. I don't know what to call it. It is mosaic carbon fiber, perhaps, because it is large pieces put together in weird patterns. Looks like OSB before it's ground down. So it does have a nice randomness to it, but it's not, I don't know if I'd call it marbled. I don't like that marbled. It's not what I consider marbled, but it is quite beautiful and catches the light with some really nice chatoyance. Beautiful, beautiful knife. Slim. Ergonomics are great. Hard to cut, great freaking knife. Couple of things here. Mini Hogue. Similar to the Mini Griptilian, and of course the Para 3. Very, very similar in Para 3. A lot more blade, just as tall as a blade profile. Not full flat ground, but still excellent, excellent cutting stuff. Hand space is actually a little bit larger without the choil than the Para 3, right? Griptilian, the mini one doesn't come close. Little bit more just to get you a quick bit of size comparisons out of the way. There is the Kershaw Blur, very, very similar to the Kershaw Blur in size in many respects, and coming up, not just any leak, but a random leak. So you can see it is very similar in handle length and choil size to the leak. A lot more blade, a lot more hand filling. It is thicker than this one, but not thicker than the Blur. In fact, the Blur is thicker than it at its thickest point. So it is somewhere between those two when it comes to its thickness. And that is a good thing. One more double comparison here. One of my favorite knives out there, and that is the CJRB Feldspar. That is the large. As you can see, you get a bit more handle space on the large, though it is very, very similar without the choil. And very, very similar blade space in a knife that is significantly shorter. And then you have the CJRB Mini Feldspar, where you see this one is far closer to the size of the Wii Esprit, but the dimensions you get for the hand and everything else, well, this one is pretty close, but it is a bit longer, is actually closer to the large. Lots of good ratios here when it comes to how things match up, you guys. This is, you're going to find that this has a theme going on here. Once again, I'm going to get a couple of knives out here. Here is the Civivi Elementum, a Wii knife. Brethren manufacturer here. And you can see there's a lot of hand space, but just a lot more knife. Similar in hand space with the choil, a lot more blade, a lot more height, contoured, a lot more knife. And then we have the Civivi Ortis. This is in the fancy Damascus and carbon fiber milled version. Again, you see a lot of good things here. Similar, more blade length, not quite as much choil, but you get more cutting edge. Similar handle, but a little bit more and a little bit more to fill the hand. In a size closer to the Elementum, but specs closer to the Ortis without the large choil. And a larger grind to boot. Again, you guys are going to start seeing a whole lot of this sort of story going on. Without going too much further, though, I do want one more size comparison to come about here so you can see. And that is one that I find it also compares very favorably with one that is also a champ in my book, and that is this medium worn cleaver from Honey Badger. The Honey Badger is significantly cheaper. For those who don't know, this is a just over $210, less than $215. I think it's like $212 for the carbon fiber, and I believe it's $218 or $220 for the titanium. They're very, very similar, about $215 to $220 for the Esprit. It is about $65 for the Honey Badger medium, somewhere in there. But the Honey Badger gets its reputation very well deserved for being similar to the Esprit in that it is right in between a lot of things. You get a lot of hand space, you get a full choil, you get a decent blade that has a lot of height to it with a full flat grind, so you get good geometry. It is still tall, it is slim, it has a deep carry that's in the back. The Honey Badger is known as a very, very good value because it has earned it as being an outstanding design. And the Esprit, you get less choil, but you get a lot of the same functionality of the choil. You get more blade and more usable handle. You get more usable handle in exchange for a smaller choil. And a larger blade with almost the same height blade grind and probably about 20 to 25% more cutting edge. And arguably, though this is contoured as well, arguably somewhat better ergonomics, so that is most definitely a matter of hands, where the Honey Badger, for the money, has long been a hard knife to beat. If I were to put two knives out here that I think really are hard to beat for the money, you're going to look at these two. These are the ones that this knife has to beat. It does a pretty good job. You actually, if you look really closely, this is a really expensive amalgamation of these two knives done somewhat better. And quite honestly, I'm going to give a compliment to both designers. If this was a button lock made by Medford Knives, I'd own one. I would go into debt to own one. Just saying. But that being said, one of the things I don't like about this knife, yeah, the pocket clip doesn't quite cover the lock bar. And so, as a front flipper, where you have to put your fingers and pull the lock and pull against this in order to, it's not where you have to push against it, where you have like a normal flipper. You actually have to get some leverage and pull that, and it's already off of there in order to release it. You can actually, as you can see I did right there, and put your fingers down there. You can actually still easily, instead of having it be just a little bit further over, you can easily put your fingers there and prevent the front flipper from working with just a tiny bit of fingertip pressure on the lock bar. That being said, the thumb studs, your fingers go on it, they do not go on there, and the thumb studs actually fire the sucker out just beautifully, and they work either side quite beautifully. They're large, they're well rounded, and well designed. You just have to be a little bit careful when using the front flipper, and if you make sure your fingers are on there and you're on the clip and it has a good amount of surface, now you really can use that front flipper. And again, it's hard to do horizontally on camera for you guys, but please believe me when I tell you that, oh gosh, see, it's really hard to do horizontally, but yes, it does work if you can keep your fingers off there. That's my one nitpick. That's it. That's what I got. Comes to a really thin edge, but it's supported by a swedge. It's got a decent front flipper that you can work really nicely. It has a fairly long back spacer, but there's still more than enough room to get a cleaning breath of air in there. It is rolling on ceramic bearings. It is made by Weaz carbon fiber and titanium, two of my favorites, and I like the lighter weight version. It is a deep carry clip with all of the space you need for both shorts and jeans, and it is light enough to wear with either just cotton jersey or athletic type shorts, or lightweight hiking shorts or golf shorts. It's light enough to do so. It's about as heavy as I would want to take on one of those, but it can do it without overweighing your pants and just weighing down like you got a giant freaking weight in your pocket. Right? It's really hard to be inconspicuous with your tool if it's dragging your pants halfway down your leg. So this is nice that it doesn't do that. And yeah, that pocket clip, the design, it's a nitpick in that I wish it went just was a little bit less curved that way and with a little bit. That being said, if I was a left-hander, this knife is really kind of crappy for me. It carries all the wrong ways, right? It's a one-position pocket clip, but it still is a beautiful and elegant design. And since I'm right-handed, it's a complaint I'm making on behalf of other people, not myself. And again, you guys, this is a fantastic knife. It's hard to... this knife is almost perfect in the sense that it's perfect with a couple of flaws, but depending upon who you are, that will tell you what the flaws are. Some people will say it's not thick enough. I need something that's more filling in the hand, but the design is really nice, right? That's a great blade shape. It's really ergonomic. It's just too slim. And then there's going to be people like me that's like, no, this is almost not, this is just slim. Like, this is great. I can get this in my hand. This is a daily cutter, right? I can slice boxes with this. I want the pocket clip a little bit more over so I can better use the front flipper, but people who are like, I never use the front flipper, and having the pocket clip right there is perfect for me in that I can keep all three fingers on it, never ever put any pressure on the lock bar, and fire it every time. I don't like the front flipper, so I can put two fingers on the clip where it is instead of pushing it out like you do on a lot of the other ones that are moved over. I can just put my fingers on it naturally and fire it out with my finger. I'm sorry, you guys, if you guys can't see the blade, I was trying to make sure you could see the clip. Everybody's going to have another nitpick, but that's just it. Here's what you're going to see. This is a 9.8 or a 9.5. This is 4.5 out of 5 stars, right? This is 9.9. It's not quite perfect, but there's a little nitpick. It's not ambidextrous. Everybody's going to have a little nitpick with it. It's just short of perfect. And that might be the best compliment you can give this knife, is that for most people, it's going to be just short of perfect. But everyone's going to have a different reason as to why it's not. Which means that there's going to be a lot of people that this is a great knife for. It may not be perfect. It may not be a grail knife. It may not be like, oh, that's just what I've always wanted in a knife. But if you're someone who wants a really capable tool that is ridiculously classy, incredibly elegant in its design, and near perfect in its execution, there is no gaps different in the machining, right? The screws are set exactly the same depth. They go all the way through. There's not two screws. The screws actually go all the way through to the titanium, so they actually latch in. There's even gaps around the pivot collar, and the we in the carbon fiber is indistinguishable from where it, other than by feel, you can't tell where that starts. The machining on this is great. It is perfect. I don't want to say perfect, like there's no such thing, right? I know there's no such thing, but It's rounded, it's contoured. It's incredibly well executed. Mr. Ray Laconico is well known, absolutely well known for having elegant classical designs. He does, if you don't know his work, Google him, look on your favorite knife store website, and just look up his designs. You'll see. He is well known for simple yet elegant and very, very functional designs. And this is absolutely no exception. The contouring, the ergonomics, the design of it, absolutely superb. The aesthetics, it looks like a knife. It looks like what you expect a knife to. I like the stone-washed version, but whether you get the stone-washed or the polished, it looks good. Right? Whatever aesthetic you like, it looks good in it. It doesn't matter what is. Like there. Right? I hate to do this, but like a beautiful woman, it don't matter what dress you put on her, she looks good. I'm not even going to get into the argument like all women are beautiful, all that stuff. Everybody's got a preference. But when someone's beautiful to you, it doesn't matter what clothes you put on them, they look good. And I feel like that about this knife. It's going to be great. It may not be perfect, but it's always going to be a great knife. And that's the best compliment I can give it. We're coming into a long-winded thing here to tell you guys, buy this knife. Is it worth $200? Man, the craftsmanship's there. The design is top-notch. It goes to a thin edge. It's CPM 20 CV, so it's not only stone-washed, but it's going to have really good corrosion resistance. Really long edge retention. Toughness is only so-so, but you can still sharpen it on most ceramics, especially like the Spyderco ones. And again, it's on bearings, so it's not a hard use knife really in dirt and all that stuff, but it's well built and will take just about any use you can throw at it, as long as you properly care for it and maintain it. And yeah, it'll last you a lifetime. For $200, you have a lifetime knife you can carry with you just about anywhere. It is over 3 inches in blade length, so for anyone who has that problem, it will not suffice. It is slightly over the 3-inch blade length, only slightly so. So for those who are wondering, it is approximately 3 1/4. One of my favorite blade lengths. I think that is one of the midpoint, right in the 3 1/8 to 3 3/8 land, depending upon how the design works out for blades. Again, some of my favorites. One of my other favorite all-around knives, the Honey Badger in multiple flavors. This one being the D2 medium. Jack of all trades. Does everything well and does it for a good price. Yes. Would I suggest for value the Wii over the Honey Badger? No, not on a budget. There's a lot of reasons why the Honey Badger is a superior knife when cost is involved. Considering it's FRN, you can get a white scale, you can get different screw sets. They make it extraordinarily easy to customize your own. You can get different colored FRN. You can get white ones to color your own, different colored screw sets. You can go on their website and absolutely customize the living bejesus out of your Honey Badger and get as well as multiple blade shapes for the same thing, so you can carry different knives. It's fantastic. It is a great knife. If you want something similar in spirit, where it is a jack of all trades that does everything a pocket knife should, but does it at a really high level with precision, beauty, elegance, and top-notch materials, well then, my friend, you want the Wii Esprit. And if you're wondering and you're like, man, is it really as good as they all say? I said it at the beginning, and I will close out this review with, once again, this is not only as good as we all say, it's better. It really is. It's better in ways that only you will find out when you own one and realize what you do and don't like about it. But you'll still find out it's a great knife regardless, even though you may disagree with what everyone does or doesn't like. You're still going to like at least 90% of it. And that's the best way to complement a knife that is a great knife without being perfect. And with that being said, I'm going to close this out. This has been a Dose of Drew and another knife review of Friday Night Knives. I am Said Drew. Go ahead, like, subscribe, watch it twice, come back in the morning, tell me how you feel, and comment. Again, Dose of Drew. I am Said Drew. This has been the Esprit knife review. Thank you, guys.